Wolfchase, Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network. I'm Jeff Brightwell alongside Richie Grant. And Coach, the season is wrapped up for this year, and I know an interesting season. That might not be the word, but overtime, I guess, would be the word for this year. Just a ton of overtime games this year. A lot of close wins, a lot of close losses. Give us your kind of thoughts on the season.
Still putting it together. We're a little disappointed yesterday with the end of the season selection show comes out, and that was a real target for us this year, is to put ourselves in the top 48 in the country. And I thought at times we played good enough football. We had some really big results. I think there's 7 or 8 teams that we played this year, all in the national tournament. So there's a little bit of disappointment amongst us from the point of maybe not accomplishing our goals. But it was definitely a tough season, an awful lot of extra time games, which shows how close a lot of the matches are. And I suppose what we take from it is finding a way to make as many of those games go your way is a real key to playing in the postseason. I thought the lads were fantastic in the final couple of weeks of the season. You think from the time we went on the road to South Carolina, picked up maximum points, Central Florida, we lose a tough one in extra time, go to FIU, get maximum points, come back home, beat UAB, and beat SMU on national television was probably the highlights of the season for us. And I think had we continued to play like that into the conference tournament, and quarterfinals are tricky games. We'll chat a little bit about the Kentucky game, but that was, you lose 1-0 in the conference playoffs. What we've said to the lads is that it's very important that you have a resume strong enough that you can get into the national tournament by way of your strength of schedule, by way of your wins and losses during the regular season. So,
you take that last part of the season, you were talking about that kind of being a highlight. I think that's what you've got to take out of the season. With so many close losses in there was a point where you're thinking, can you get in the conference tournament? In those last 2 weeks, you guys just really turned it on, showed a lot of resiliency.
Look, the boys deserve tremendous credit for that. And I'll say this about the league, we're moving towards the Big East, but you're coming out of a Conference USA that's placed 4 teams in the national tournament 3 years in a row. And people just do not know how good Conference USA is. So 3 of the teams got in on their strength of schedule. And with those 3 teams, 2 of them we beat, and 1 of them we tied in the regular season. So for 2 years in a row, we've been the 5th team. The next team that should be fighting to get in. It's hard for a league with 9 to place 5. So we had to make sure that we were in the top 4. And we finished 4th in the league in the regular season, So we're getting closer and closer and closer. But that only makes it a little bit harder. But, the boys are back in training this week. Same as what we did last year. And the key for us is, can we continue to get better each year? We have a very small class that we're graduating. I'm excited about the young lads that are committed to our program next year. And I just hope that the team realizes how close we are and the work that we need to do in the spring, and that we hit the ground running next August.
You mentioned that losing a lot as far as numbers. I mean, you'll lose a couple of valuable guys off of this club, but you had some seniors that had some injuries this year that are going to be able to come back and play for you for another year. So you're going to get a lot of these guys that have been through the battles this year in the last couple of years that'll be able to return.
Last couple of years, when we thanked the seniors, we thanked them for really stabilising the program in the last 2 years. 3 years ago, we were an average team, not playing great football. I think we're playing better football now. Much tougher team, like the way we're playing, and when you have small classes going out, it opens up some opportunities for young lads to come in and play, but it keeps some stability, and that's been a real goal in our coaching, is to have 3 or 4 starters graduate each year, and that you bring in a couple of lads like a Quincy Thomas, who is an all-freshman player, Adam Camilio, who started so many games for us this year, who has a very bright future. You bring in some quality that they can step in and play, but you don't want that to be 6 or 7. That's a real key. Is that the young lads that come in, that there's some doors open for them to play, and it'll be the same next year. So yes, we're very excited. It's a small graduating class, but they're always missed more than you think.
Right.
When you get to this point in the year, you think, well, we can replace them. It took us a long while to figure out replacing Cody McCoy. And we basically had to replace Cody with 2 players. Dennis Kennett stepped into the middle, and Quincy stepped into the middle. But it took us 4 or 5 games to figure that out. And then once we got organised at the UAB tournament, and the Furman tournament, after playing some games, I think we found our niche as a team.
Well, you just mentioned your guys now in the off season. They're already getting into their training before next year. What's the process? How much can you be with them? How much do they have to do on their own? When do you get back together as a whole team?
Yeah, we got crazy NCAA rules, don't we? They're able to stay active right now. They're doing postseason testing. They're just, the lads feel the way I do. They're all a little bit disappointed that the season hasn't gone further, and we're working together to try and find a solution. What's that piece that pushes you over the edge? And look, when you take 48 teams, it's not a lot. There's not a lot of at-large bids available. So you really have to have a good, clean season. I think that's what we took from this season, is there's just minimal amount of losses that you can pick up, So in these extra times, can you make it go your way? Can you not lose, and can you draw those games? And the ones that you have big-time opportunities to win, you just have to take those chances.
Coach, as you look toward next season, it'll be an entirely new era, new conference next year. You're going to see new teams. I'm sure your non-conference are going to see some familiar teams that you play on an annual basis in your non-conference season, but it'll be a brand new league next year.
Look, we're moving from a league that's placed almost 50% in,
right,
and it's been fantastic for us, but we're ecstatic about where we're going. The Big East has 8 teams in the national tournament. Massive representation. So now the challenge is similar to what we faced in Conference USA. How do you get into that top 40% of your own league,
right,
to make sure that you're giving yourself a chance? You got to win the right games at the right times, but we feel prepared in that we've been in a good league for a long time in Conference USA, and we're also meeting up with the old Conference USA.
Right.
We're reunited with Louisville, Marquette, DePaul, Cincinnati, South Florida, staying with SMU, Central Florida. So these are games that our boys are comfortable with, but it's a big challenge for us in terms of recruiting, and we're seeing a big volume of interest with the Big East, as it's a league that kids want to play in. So we need to promote that and work that angle with our recruiting. But we're really pleased. It's like getting a new job,
Right.
You got a whole new challenge in front of you for next year. And I'm excited for the players to have an opportunity to play a season in that league.
I'm sure they look at it as a challenge, as you just mentioned, because how good the league is, but also it has to be a lot of excitement too, because you mentioned like a new job, you're going to get to go to new stadiums. For these guys, they weren't in the Conference USA before it realigned. You were familiar with a lot of these places you're going to, but for them, it's new cities, new stadiums,
That's
and
right.
new atmosphere.
And that you're dead right. That has a certain amount of glamour to it, and I know that where we are going, they're all tough games and good crowds and tough places to play away from home, and we hope to make Memphis a place. I thought we were pretty good at home again this year. That's really important. Going into any league, you want to be, as much as we have to travel, we have to make sure that we play here in Memphis, that it's a tough place for opponents to come. We are. We're very excited. I think it brings a new challenge. What we're trying to do now is break down some Big East film and just get ourselves ready for the opponents that we'll see next year.
All right, well, Coach, thanks as always. I'm sure we'll catch up with you in the spring.
Thank you.
That is Richie Grant, and I'm Jeff Brightwell. This is the Wolfchase Toyota Insider on the Memphis Tiger Network.